And you can also listen to our host today. He's on SuperTalk on Saturdays from 10 to 12, hosting the Rock'n'Roll Handyman Show. That's Buddy Slowik. And I got him here because he's going to help me with a personal problem that I feel like many of you have had too, waking up this morning with maybe some slightly frozen pipes. So welcome, Buddy.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon. How are you, Rebecca?
I know, it's like, we miss one day of work and we just don't know how to do this anymore. But yes, good morning, good afternoon, and being home, and out of your routine. You don't know what time of day it is. But Buddy,
I've been home long enough where I need to get out.
So many of us woke up this morning, Buddy, with less than stellar, pipes, whether they've busted or maybe some are just frozen, or like at our house, Buddy, our cold water runs, but our hot water doesn't, and what's leaving us all sort of scratching our heads on what to do next. So help.
Yeah. Cold water runs, but the hot water doesn't. That would mean to me that the line that runs to your hot water heater could be frozen solid. And do you have a tanked water heater or one of those self-contained water heaters?
So we have a tankless hot water heater. We just, built a new home back early this last year, I guess, back in last Easter, should I say. Now I'm getting my years mixed up, Buddy. So yeah, we went tankless, and all of our lines are obviously in the attic. And so yeah, they don't tell you about all of this. Well, usually it doesn't get 17 degrees in Mississippi either. So there's that.
No, this is the extreme, and I have been talking about we don't experience the extreme here in central Mississippi very often, maybe every 5 years or so, but we should be ready for it every year. And by being ready for it, that means covering your outside faucet bibs, any plumbing lines that run upstairs, whether it's PEX or copper, PEX being the red and blue plastic feeling like piping. They're much more forgiving than the copper. The copper is going to snap and break, but they all need to be insulated. And that's how you prepare for it. Now, if you've got the problem it does sound like the water line that feeds the water heater is frozen somewhere. Now, do you know if you have PEX, the type of plumbing that it doesn't run through copper pipe, but runs through like a PVC pipe or a PEX pipe?
Those are big words for me, Buddy, but I think I do know we got whatever it is that's supposed to expand, so it's not supposed. So we got the updated version of pipes.
The PEX is much more forgiving than the copper. It will, in other words, if you have a freeze in your PEX line, it will expand and it'll actually handle that freeze and probably defrost by itself and not create any problems being PEX. If it's copper, you really have to be careful because you can apply heat to that pipe with a hair dryer. Never apply heat to it with like a torch or a blowtorch. Always something like a hair dryer. And don't let the pipe ever get too hot. So hot, if you touch the pipe with your hands and it's too hot to hold, that means you're going to create a problem somewhere. So always, you can defrost that frozen line a little bit with the hair dryer and do a pretty good job in doing that. Now, most of the leaks that occur around here will happen because an outside faucet bib either didn't have the proper protection or somehow or other it froze up anyway. That's where most of the leaks around here occur, unless you live in a conventional foundation, and then a lot of the piping goes under the house and may not be protected properly.
So I feel like particularly those that may have older homes, Buddy, we went through, I guess 2 years ago, we went through the big cold or the ice, which I guess probably surfaced a lot of problems. So if you got your pipes fixed then, if they busted and they got fixed then, are you looking at having this issue again, or is there a way to make sure you don't go through this each year if this is becoming something regular for us in Mississippi at least once or twice a year?
Well, that's not predictable how often it's going to happen, so it's better to be prepared for it all the time. And to do that, all of your pipes that are exposed that you can see should be insulated. There's pipe wrap insulation, there's bibs that go on your outside faucet, and all that, by doing all that, will protect you from even the extremes. However, by not doing that, and a lot of people don't do that, they leave like faucets dripping so that the water won't freeze or whatever, and that can help sometimes. And that can solve the problem. But older homes, if they've got like low pressure, and it just happened during this colder weather, that can be a problem with your water system supplier, your city, or your whoever supplies you water. And what can happen is their lines can have a leak in it, or houses down the line could have leaks in it, and there's so much water being spewed out into the no man's land that by the time it gets to your house, the pressure's not high enough.
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like there's someone listening to Good Things, Buddy, with all of the above that's happened. Like, maybe not all at one time, but one here or sort of there. I know many friends have commented that they didn't have hot water today, but they have their cold water flowing, which is the strangest thing, to sort of go to your faucet and be able to turn on one and it run fine, and then the other, there's just nothing. But they are getting their hot water back over time as it unthaws. And then there's those unfortunate scenarios, Buddy, where you have folks who have the busted pipes. They know it's busted. As it starts to defrost, how do you mitigate it becoming a big mess? Because if you don't know, that can become a big problem real quick, correct?
Yeah, for sure. You can have flooding in the whole house. I mean, you need to find leaks if you have them. And the best way to do that is to go out to your outside meter where your shutoff is and turn off all of your faucets in the house. Turn off all of your faucets in the house, including all of them, outside bibs and everything. And then go to your meter. If water is still going into your house with all the faucets shut off, you have a leak somewhere.
Ah. And then what do you do, cry? Because I would cry.
Again?
So then what do you do if you know you have a leak? Do you just sit and cry, or are you supposed to call somebody?
Yeah, well, after you're done crying, you have to find it. And that's not always easy to do, particularly in older homes, because a lot of those leaks are in between the sheathing of the house and the brick, maybe, if you're brick siding, and those leaks are in between that area. And honestly, it's a time to call a plumber and bite the bullet and pay their boat payments. Mm-hmm. It's going to cost a lot of money to call a plumber.
So we have a text, Buddy. Ricky in Aberdeen says that he has hot water and cold water everywhere except the hot water in his kitchen, which is on the north wall, which is froze. So that's so strange to me that, like, different parts of your home pipes can be affected than the other. I mean, they're so close. How does that work?
It absolutely can happen, because what happens when they insulate houses, the plumbing should always be inside the insulation. Now, in my house, I did have a plumbing problem probably 6 months ago, and when I looked inside, and a plumber and I looked inside, there was no insulation between where the pipe was and the wall of the exterior house. And that's why I had a problem, because it wasn't insulated. So they should always be insulated. So what's happening is the water that's going to the kitchen, the pipe that feeds the water that's going to the kitchen is freezing. And there's a clog in there stopping the water from coming out. At this point in time, if everything else is still working, the best thing to do is to turn on the kitchen faucet and let it drip. If it drips, that's great. That means it's defrosting itself and it'll work properly. If nothing happens in 24 hours, you've got a problem where you may have a broken pipe, and it may need to call a plumber and have them kind of fix that situation. And then once it's fixed, it needs to be rectified where it won't happen again, and that's done with either insulation or pipe wrap.
Gotcha. Okay, so the insulation goes above just the outside little thingies on your faucet. You also need to be aware if whether you've got insulation in between the walls or in the attic or wherever else your pipes may be kind of naked or exposed. Learning so much, buddy.
That can create a problem. Well, another thing that's important that people need to know is outside faucet bibs are basically screwed onto what they call a nipple. And that nipple is a pipe that's actually threaded for the faucet to fit onto, and it's threaded on the other side to go into your house too.
Hey, buddy, can you hang on? Can you hang tight? We got more with Buddy Slowik. He's the host of the Rock'n'Roll Handyman Show here on SuperTalk, coming up next. Buddy, I'm having a hard time with my words this morning, but it's like the Mondiest Wednesday ever. I don't, with this crazy sort of week and waking up and not knowing pipes frozen, hot water here, cold water there, and all of the above. But you were sharing with us some tips or talking about the covers on the outside, because even though things should be thawing out, folks are rejoicing they're getting their hot water back because it's unthawing itself. We praise the Lord. We're not out of the woods with cold the winter yet. So this is going to happen again.
It is going to happen again. And again, it's a matter of preparation, a matter of being prepared. One thing I forgot to mention that's very important: if your hot water is not coming and you don't have any hot water in the house, and you have like a hot water heater that is self-contained. Rebecca, come on, give me help.
Tankless? See?
Yes, tankless.
It's not just me. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate it. If you have a tankless hot water heater and it's electric, you should probably shut that hot water heater off. If it's gas, it's okay because it has regulators on it, which won't make it burn out. Or if it's electric, it may burn out because there's not water coming to it.
Well, isn't it true, buddy, if you have a tankless, and maybe, I don't know which one we have, I feel like ours is ran through our gas, but I don't want to be 100% on that you're not supposed to let hot water drip overnight because it may burn out the computer or something another. Isn't it less advised?
I'm not one of those that believes in hot water dripping overnight. I just don't. I think you get all you need to get by letting the cold water drip, if that's what you want to do. If you can have some dripping at all.
Gotcha. So that would just be for no matter what your setup is. Buddy recommends that you just let the cold water sort of drip. Someone texted in, Buddy, should I insulate hot water heater copper pipes in the attic, and what type of installation?
They might make a pipe wrap, which is very much like a a pool noodle. You know what a pool noodle is, where it's split on one side and actually fits right over your pipes and does very well, and then it's tied together with zip ties. And that's basically how you would insulate pipes.
Well, I feel like lots of folks are going to be out looking for this stuff coming up, just realizing, because once you do it once, is that something, Buddy, that they could do, or anyone listening to Good Things could do? And then once it's insulated, does it matter during the summer? Would you have to go up there and take it all out? Or once you did it and went through that effort, it would be done?
No, do it and it's done. And do it right and protect all of your pipes. And then it doesn't matter, summer, extreme winter, you're going to be okay in kind of any kind of situation. The only problem you'll have is your water supply, the city or the municipality or whatever has a problem. Then you'll have a problem. Otherwise, you're in good shape.
But at least it won't be a personal problem. It'll be everybody's problem.
There you go. It'll be a community problem.
It'll be a community problem. You can sit back and just know your pipes will be fine once everything gets back in and sort of flowing. But, it takes things like this to sort of show the weaknesses within our home. And then, like you mentioned, Buddy, we can go through several and skip it and, not have any problems. And all it takes is sort of that one time, which is so crazy to me, because if something's supposed to freeze at a certain temperature, why it didn't happen one time but happen the next time just, blows my mind. But I guess, such is life. Things are random.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of getting down to 28 and 27 degrees probably is not going to hurt an unprotected system. But getting down to 27 and 28 degrees for a long period of time probably is. So if it's just going to happen one or two nights, it's not a big deal. But it's still, I think protection is the best protection for yourself. To work on it as very hard as you can and get it protected as best you can.
So, okay, what else should we be thinking about, Buddy? I mean, I know if we're obviously in a boat of, for us, it's wait and see if our hot water comes back. I think I heard you say within 24 hours. If not, we may have a bigger problem. Call a plumber. But for most folks that I see, if it's just your cold water running, your hot water not, it's coming back, you're good to go. But what about just for the rest of the winter, or maybe even thinking coming into the spring? We obviously didn't pay attention to you on the Rock'n'Roll Handyman Show because you were sharing all this wonderful information this past Saturday. I was actually listening listening about covering our pipes.
You're listening and not doing any of it.
Well, I just took it. I just figured it was, I don't know, until you're here. And then it's now, it's like, okay, so next time I want to be better prepared. But is there something else we are missing or you wish folks were thinking about during this time of year for their home, regardless of if it gets back freezing or not?
No, pipe wrap and those outside faucets is about all you need to do to protect your plumbing, and I think you'll do a good job by doing that. But you do have to be more diligent about that if you're working on a conventional foundation and your piping is running underneath your house and it's just exposed. It needs to be wrapped. Even if you haven't had a problem before, that doesn't mean you're not going to have a problem coming up.
So being prepared. Just go ahead and know that it will happen. It can happen to you. I had to boil water this morning, buddy, to take a warm bird bath. I was not happy.
I'm not happy at all, no. I'm on a hot shower in the morning.
But I'm grateful I had water. I don't want to, sound too whatever. I'm grateful there was water, and for all purposes, I don't think we have any busted pipes, so it's just a waiting game, but still, it's something, if it can be prevented, I would like to be on the other side of that.
Particularly if you have that PEX pipe, which is it's not copper, it's the other type piping. And if you have that, and you have a newer home, so it would be that kind of situation anyway. PEX is much more forgiving and much less apt to crack and break than copper is.
Is there anything else home-wise which is good to do during the winter? Are there any kind of updates, changes out, all the things that would be better done when the weather is cooler? Maybe not 17 degrees cooler, but just cooler in general?
The biggest problem most people have keeping their house at a comfortable temperature is air infiltration. And that's just a matter of, are your doors and windows properly insulated around the side? Are there leaks coming in somewhere between your threshold and the bottom of your door? All that needs to be checked. And once you've done that, pretty much you're done. The only thing is, once in a great while, your pets will tear up your weather stripping and you have to replace it, but that's no big deal. But I really do think that be prepared for the cold weather is the best thing you can do, everything you can do to protect for it. And you might look up on your computer, just search Google, protecting my house for cold weather, and it'll give you a list of things that need to be done.
Well, I know I'm not a fan of the 17-degree weather. I'm just there. I said it out loud. It's just, I never had to boil water to take a shower in the summer. So we're just going to leave that there. Speaking of the summer, though, when it comes to like your AC unit, they'll always tell you not to overdo it, right? Like not try to crank it down too low to sort of spare it. Can you do the same thing in the winter? Can you run it too much if you are trying to keep your house warmer or toasty? Is there a happy medium with taking care of your AC unit or your heating unit?
As long as your filters are clean, you should do that at least once a month. You should change the filters on your heating and air unit. And no, running your heat during the winter a lot. Like, let's just say your house is not keeping the heat in there very well, and the heat has to run almost 24/7. That's kind of what you have to do in this weather. Do it. Is it a good idea? No, it's probably a good idea to let your heater rest from time to time, but it's not going to hurt it very much for a couple of days to run like that, to run full like it should.
Well, it's good to know you just gave somebody ammunition with their spouse. And you're definitely full of so much good information, buddy. We should definitely be tuning in on Saturdays from 10 to 12. What you got coming this week?
Which is, we're going to have a blast this week. We're going to talk about all kinds of fun things. I guess we'll talk about some plumbing, too.
I feel like that will be the talk of the town for a while because, man, if you did wake up this morning to frozen pipes or busted pipes, we're feeling for you. But, it's one of those things, if you can get past it, get through it, actually listen to your handyman's advice and get your pipes good and covered, and then yeah, we should sort of be good to go. But, buddy, I appreciate your time. When can we tune in? How can we listen to it played back if we miss it? All the things for the Rock'n'Roll Handyman Show.
The Rock'n'Roll Handyman Show is 10 to 12 on Saturdays. We have just my theory is let's just all have a good time and get some information out there as well. But that show is available anytime during 24/7, just like yours is available on all of the apps just go to the SuperTalk app or SuperTalk TV or anywhere that SuperTalk is available. The Handyman Show is available to watch us or listen to us or whatever. And we just have a good time.
And if you missed any of this, obviously this will be back in podcast form. But Buddy's show last Saturday was all about preparing for the cold weather.
Yeah, we did a lot to talk about, a lot.
And you did a lot of good information, so you can go back and catch that in podcast form wherever you listen to podcasts. Well, Buddy, I'm going to take your advice to heart this time, and I'm sure we'll talk again, but hopefully it's not about pipes.
Great. Enjoy your shows. I really do. Have a good day.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, stick with us. We got more.